If it hurts, James breaks, no gates, you know it up, put on more speed. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, side, through the games after this win it. Press you again, here for the first minute. Carry the body, keep it there for 6 minutes.
I mean, Peyton Manning said it best year one when we got there. He looked at Coach Heupel and he goes, man, you know, if the Colts lose, you know, I'm all right. If the Broncos lose, I'm good. He goes, but if the Vols lose on Saturday, it hurts my soul. And there's a lot of other people. There's 103,000 people every Saturday who will say the same thing, and there's probably 1 million more watching at home. So it's important here, and those guys feel that.
With Texas coming into the league now, which school has the real claim to being able to call itself UT?
There's only one real UT. One right shade of orange.
Oh, it was very meaningful. I don't lose in Florida. So I took that one to the heart. I mean, pretty much take every game to the heart, but yeah, I don't lose in Florida.
Do you remember when we fell in love? I remember, don't worry. Do you remember? I remember how it all began. How could I ever forget? It's the first time. Do you remember? I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's coming in the air tonight.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. It's go time. Fall camp is here. It's time to start talking about football. Look, I'm sick and tired. I like covering recruiting. I do. I truly enjoy my job. But from January through August, it is so boring to just talk recruiting. I am ready to talk about football. And yeah, I don't care. They had on helmets. They had on helmets today, right? It's helmets, routes on air. We, as a fan base, get more excited about routes on air than anybody else in the country because we are diehard, passionate, psychotic lunatics. But football season is here. It is go time. We got Eric Cain in the house. Coach Jay and Xavier are going to be in the house as well. We're going to break it down, talk about practice reports. We're going to talk about expectations, position battles, what we're looking for out of fall camp. But let's run down the chat. Let's see who's hanging out. Papa Jay was here early, said it's Big Orange football time in Tennessee. That is true. My friend Matt Dumit is here. What's up, Matt? Good to see you in the chat. Chase is here. Dropping those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Rocky Top Tom says Cain and Bentley. Bentley and Cain, it's like Iron and Superman in one stream. We got Bryson in the house. What's up, buddy? David Burgess is here. Joe Brown says, just ordered my Fuga tank top. For those that can't spell, that is F-U-G-A. UGA tank top. Appreciate the support, brother. Brand new Fuga merchandise drop today. We got Gator Hater merch. We got a TriStar shirt. And then we got the UGA shirts. Why would we create these? Do you know why we would create those? I don't know. I'll play this for you guys, though. I don't believe there are good people that pull for Georgia. I think they're all terrible, ugly, disgusting human beings. I think it's just that, no, there are no good Georgia fans, Eric. There are none. All right, enough wasting time. Guys, smash the thumbs up, all that good stuff. Share out the link. We would appreciate it. But we got to get this man on here because he's got a schedule to keep and he's got to bounce out the door. Let's do this.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Eric Cain, what's going on, buddy?
What is up, man? I've had a good time during this intro, just reading all the comments, watching you go through your whole list, man. It's good to be back on here. I forgot how live your chat is during your live streams. It's fun to watch. It's
exciting, man. It is a community. And look, I know you're busy. You're covering baseball. You do a great job covering baseball. You're still got to be excited to be talking some football. I know you're excited to talk some football.
Oh no, I mean, hey, love baseball. It's been a couple summers, doing play-by-play minor leagues. Like love baseball, but I mean, there's nothing like football time. All right, I mean, it's high school camps already started. They're scrimmaging. Fall camp for football. College, Tennessee started, this week. NFL's right around the corner. Best time of the year, baby. It's fall, and it doesn't feel like fall, but we're getting close to it.
Well, after I dropped that and said I'm ready to talk football and not recruiting, let's talk some recruiting. We got you for about 20 minutes tonight. Then the X Factor, Coach Jerry, going to jump in here. But look, there's some big-time news. Amari Jefferson scheduled to make a decision coming up on Saturday. And you know how the internet works, right? One little thing changes or happens, and the internet goes absolutely crazy. And that happened just recently because of the On3 recruiting prediction machine. Made a small little change. The general's quarter starts to go absolutely nuts. This thing's coming down to Tennessee and Alabama. I know Georgia's listed there as well, but this is a Tennessee-Alabama battle. All of a sudden, Tennessee was out front. Put out a video this morning with a bunch of question marks that said Amari Jefferson trending to Tennessee. You know who I trust. I trust you guys over at VolQuest because I feel like the RPM is good, but I feel like there's nothing like hard information from somebody that's in the know, and the RPM kind of updates behind schedule. You can see now Alabama at 88%. Does Tennessee have any shot? Look, this is Tennessee versus Alabama. He wants to play baseball too, so kind of break it down. Talk about Tony Vitello, the Alabama baseball team. I don't think Tennessee has a shot, but just talk about this one.
Yeah, he's been a baseball commit for a while now. I believe, well over a year. And, baseball is a little bit different than football. I mean, you commit early on, you get offers. Coming out of, as a freshman in high school, a lot of the times you go ahead and commit and it's kind of locked in. But obviously he's grown and matured and become a pretty daggone good football player as well. And you kind of felt like over the last, 18 months or so, the football was going to be his path. This is also a guy that's been performing a perfect game over the summer, which is just a national showcase to kind of put you on draft radars and everything. And he did a heck of a job. But I think his future's in college football, and obviously wanted to do a little bit of both, baseball and football, wherever he goes. Already committed to the University of Tennessee in baseball. Really likes this program. Obviously, growing up in Chattanooga, there's Tennessee fans all around him. I think he likes Kelsey Pope and Josh Heupel. I think he likes the system. But also, I mean, there's a lot to like about Alabama if you're a high school kid right now and you're a high school football player. And Alabama's been there, and they've kind of had the lead for the majority of the summer, but it's been really, really close. I feel as if it's going to be Alabama. Certainly not going to say that's set in stone. People who are in the know more than me feel like it's going to be Alabama. So we'll see what happens, but I think it's going to be Alabama for Amari Jefferson.
Well, let's move on and talk just briefly about recruiting. You lose Amari Jefferson and something that you guys over at VolQuest say regularly. You got to get yours. You're not going to get everybody, and that's something a lot of people get pissed at me. They're like, well, Boogie, you were talking about this or saying this, or, why are you streaming this kid's commitment if he's going somewhere else? You got to get your fair share. How would you grade Josh Heupel so far this class of 24? My goal all along, get this thing to the top 5. You can see On3 after the latest commitment, Tennessee up to 6. You got to be happy with that, and you still got a shot at some guys moving forward. Chris Cole, Jordan Ross, I think he tweeted out today that his commitment date's coming soon. Ryan Wingo playing the long game there. Williams Winery, Pipe Dream, Camarion Franklin, Cam Fountain. A lot of targets out there Tennessee can continue to work.
Yeah, a lot of targets, and you can see right there already 19 commits. Before kickoff last year, Tennessee had 21 commits, kind of showing that you're getting the bulk of your class done, and you're finishing off over the fall. Remember last year, really the last 2 years, Josh Heupel has closed really strong. Last year, 5-star David Hobbs, Cleva Keith, who, by the way, took part in some media today, and that guy's a unit, man. He's built. like an SEC football player. And so, but really closed strong. And of course, Aaron Carter, I forgot to mention him, tremendous player. So he's closed well. And if you remember the cycle before that, he closed with Tyree West on signing day. He closed with James Pierce on signing day as well. And you look at this class right now, again, 19 commits, and look what he's done throughout the month of July. Bennett Warren was huge, 4-star offensive tackle. Yep. We know all about him. You needed a tackle in the worst way, and you got a good one out of Texas, the best in the state of Texas. Edwin Spillman, of course, everybody thought it was going to be Tennessee for the longest time, but Ohio State was a real factor, but staying home there, one of the best players in the state of Tennessee. Mike Matthews, 5-star wide receiver. What more can you say? William Satterwhite keeping Clemson away there and getting a highly rated 4-star interior guy. So it's been a really, really nice month of July. Plus Braylon Staley, if you want to throw him in there from the month of June, the top-rated wide receiver out of South Carolina. It's been a good summer for Tennessee. Again, you're not going to get them all. You are in big boy battles. Williams, Winery, it was done a little while ago. Like he was not going to be at Tennessee whatsoever. The conversation's picked up a little bit. We'll see if that translates into anything. Cam Franklin, Jordan Ross, Ryan Wingo was just here on campus. You're in a lot of these battles where you wouldn't even be a footnote a couple of years ago, and you're sitting number 6 in the nation right now. It's kind of hard to not be pleased with the job that Heupel and his staff have done so far.
We got 250 people watching live right now. Appreciate you guys hanging out. If you like what we're doing here, guess what? We are going to continue the crossover. So make sure you go subscribe to Locked On Vols. Get those guys rocking and rolling over there. Also, go check out VolQuest. You guys have a $1 for a month fall camp special right now. So go check out VolQuest. If you watch this channel, you know I talk about VolQuest on the regular, but we're going to do the crossover the same way. Monday morning show right here on Talkin VAWLS. Me and Cainer, we're going to do about 30 minutes, and then we'll have somebody else come on. I think BBD is going to join me for those. So make sure you guys tune in. And then every Friday morning, I'm going to be over on Locked On Vols. Let me jam through some super chats, and then we're going to talk a little bit about day one of fall camp. Orange Sea Line for $5. Entry fee also for Cainer, my fellow Carson Newman alum. Talents,
yes, sir.
Dude, I don't know where it popped up. Something popped up of you back in your playing days. I was like, dang, Cainer looking good back there with the crop top. Like, look, I'm cleaning out my office, and I found this, and I feel like that's the top. I feel like you wore a Heath Schuler jersey back in your day.
I mean, I'm not that old. Come on now. It's been some years, though. It's been some years.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Thank you, Orange Sea Line. Appreciate that. Timmy Williams for $5. Amari could pick Tennessee. You never know. Yeah, never say never. I was talking about live streaming it. Now I'm leaning towards not. I don't, again, trust the people that you trust. I trust the people that I trust. But thank you, Timmy, for the $5. Appreciate that. Papa J for 10 says time to hate Georgia even more now, if that's possible. Go Big Orange. I don't think I could have any more hate in my heart than I already have for Georgia. But thank you, Papa J. Seth for $5. Ordered my Gator Hater shirt, Talkin VAWLS, and Locked On twice in a day. I'll take it. Yeah, see, they're watching our videos this morning, and now they're right back here for a live stream. Thank you, Seth. Appreciate the support, brother. Sammy P for $2. What corners are the Vols still looking at? Do you know an answer to that? Because I don't. I kept talking about Caleb Beasley and Kai Bates would be huge.
Yeah.
I don't know another corner.
I don't know an answer to that right now. I'm not going to lie. Of course, Kai Bates was Tennessee thought they were in a really good spot at one point. A couple of days later, it changed. There'll be some more names pop up, certainly when senior film starts to hit the rounds on Huddle. But right now, I actually don't have a name.
Yeah, and you mentioned Arian Carter, obviously a huge one. Think back to him last summer. Nobody was talking about Arian Carter, right? So you're going to kind of regroup now. You've still got the long-term targets that I mentioned earlier, and then you're going to regroup. You're going to see some senior tape, and we'll
think
see.
Think about this real quick. Arian Carter this time last year, which he's going to play a huge role for Tennessee's defense as a true freshman. He was a running back commit from Memphis this time last year.
Crazy to think about that. Was he a 4-star or was he a 3-star at the time when he was the running back?
I think he was a 3-star. When they redid him, it jumped him up.
Yeah. Crazy. And we've seen it multiple times, in recruiting. Well, let's talk about fall camp. I know it's day one. They're wearing helmets, no pads. It is what it is. What's Josh Heupel looking for, Cainer, on day one? Make sure guys stay healthy. Make sure where they're supposed to be. They ended practice early. That was weird to me. What are your overall takeaways? And then we're going to I'll do a little plug for your practice reports over at VolQuest and kind of go through it piece by piece a little bit. But what are you looking for?
In that practice report today, did I mention enough that, hey, it's day one? no pads, take
But
it with
it's
a grain
so
of salt.
stupid because it's like I feel like we can't get excited because if we get excited, people are like, well, it's day one. Well, I know. So then we continue to say it's day one, but it's day one, but it's day one, but let's just have some fun. Let's talk some ball.
As the theme of camp so far, from media day on Tuesday to today and Wednesday, talking with Josh Heupel again, it just looks and feels like just a different football team, compared to this time last year, and especially compared to this time in 2021. I understand 2021 was a long time ago. I get it. But it takes a couple of years to replenish that roster and get it back to where you need to be. You walk in there, into the indoor when they start out practice and out to the outdoor on those practice fields, and you see some of these guys for the first time since spring practice and ultimately last fall. It's like, okay, this is what 6 months of an off-season conditioning workouts, programs look like. I mean, Arian Carter looks good. Keenan Peely's look good. Jeremiah Thielander was the one that stood out to me the most. I mean, that dude has put on some muscle since getting here in January. I don't know if he'll play a lot this year. He'll play special teams for sure, but I mean, that you can just tell the benefits of some of these younger guys, adding some armor, as Jerry Mack says. So that's kind of what stood out to me day one. It was fun to watch. I mean, Joe looked good throwing the football. Nico had some freshman moments, but he looked good as well. The biggest thing on the offensive line was, Gerald Mincey was practicing on the left side and not the right side. I found that pretty interesting, but a lot of good stuff. It looks like Josh Heupel, at least for day one, you're right. Nope, get out of there injury free. Having everybody knowing where they're supposed to go. This is a very veteran-led team. They know how to practice. They're taking the young guys, along with them. There's only a couple of brand new guys who haven't been through a practice, but look like they kind of caught on well. And everything it heard, it was a good practice number one. And you're right, Josh Heupel ended it a couple minutes early. I'm sitting there writing those observations, like, oh crap, I need to hurry up and get this done because he's about to come in here and talk to the media. But it sounds like it was a good first day.
$10 super chat from Rocky Top Tom. Appreciate that support, brother. Every damn day with Eric Cain and Boogie. This live stream is the best thing that's happened since the Orange Bowl. Further thoughts on what Cain just said. Happy with Heupel. Where are we in 2 years? Yeah, you keep recruiting, you keep building, man, and they're closing the talent gap. I think that's the key, and that's why we talk about stacking recruiting classes. But again, I want to talk about your practice reports. It's something I use on the regular, and I won't plug the other guys, even though I'm going to. As soon as you leave the show, I'm going to plug who's going to be on next week, and I will promote those guys too. But that's the beauty of running your own thing. I could do anything and everything with everybody, and I love it. And I know you guys. It's Ben, you and Ben are buddies, man.
I hate that guy.
I'm just kidding. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, yes, you work for different companies, but that's the beautiful thing of Talking Balls. I can bring you on this week and Ben McKee on next week. But I want to talk about your practice reports again. VolQuest.com, $1 for 1 month. Go check them out because I reference what you say in your practice reports, what Ben McKee says in his practice reports. I bounce around everywhere and get information. But let's run down through what you saw today, because what I want to talk about first is Joe Milton. In your practice report, and this is behind a paywall, so I'm not going to spoil it for you, but one thing that you touched on was that he had throws with strong, tight spirals, and his touch passes looked crisp. So when you say that, as a battered Vol syndrome fan, which Joe are we going to get? Are we getting the Bowling Green Joe, or are we going to get the Orange Bowl Joe, right? To me, I mean, we're going into year 3. Joe Milton's been here for a while, and if Josh Heupel can develop quarterbacks, Joe Milton should improve. So what'd you see out of Joe today? Yes, it's routes on air, but still, it's worth some. How have you seen Joe develop over the last couple of years?
No, he looked good today. I mean, he looked good, and you can tell that he's a different guy just the way that he carries himself. He's always had confidence. He's never lacked for confidence, but it's more like he has a belief in himself. And I think the Vanderbilt win and the Orange Bowl in particular, just move the needle for him, right? It's like, okay, I'm here. Like, he did an interview. I don't know if you got. I played part of the interview on my show last week, but he did an interview with the Sports Animal on Radio Row at SEC Media Days, and he was like, in 2021 when I got hurt, the Hendon came in. It's like I didn't know if I wanted to be here anymore. I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, am I good enough? And he was like, I was really doubting myself. And he's like, well, you're 6'5", 330. You have a cannon of a right arm. You can lead people. You can connect with people. Let's just not give up on this yet. And lo and behold, 2 years later, he's got another opportunity. So I just feel like he's grown and matured a lot in the last couple of years. And I think being best friends with Hendon Hooker has a lot to do with that. But as far as his football ability, a lot of people at SEC Media Days and players at Media Day or at the Tennessee's Media Day earlier this week saying that his accuracy continues to get better. His accuracy is so much farther along and better than where it was last year, where it was 2 years ago. And that's a big thing for Joe because he's never been the most accurate passer. But he looks good, throwing the football well, and those touch passes, you never saw a touch pass, some points last year in camp and especially 2 years ago. Saw a couple of those touch passes this year. You can tell he's been working on it.
One last thing, we're going to get you out the door. I know you said you got to be somewhere at 7:30. Ramel Keaton, he's the guy that you mentioned. Of course, you talked about looking a little different in that number 9 jersey. Made some highlight plays today. Again, shout out to the enemy, to the bad guys, to Ben McKee. He said that Ramel Keaton was a guy that really stood out to him today. Talk a little bit about Ramel Keaton. We know Josh Heupel, typically what we've seen at Tennessee, is going to roll with 3 guys. You got a lot of talent in that wide receiver room with Brew McCoy and Dante Thornton, Squirrel White, Ramel Keaton. And a buddy of mine messaged me today and said that Squirrel was asked, I think it was yesterday, about a 4 wide receiver set. And he's like, that's something I really want to see. We got a lot of talent. How do you balance this wide receiver room? Ramel Keaton is not going to go away quietly. He is going to continue to compete. But what do you think about what you saw out of Ramel today and moving forward?
I mean, he did what you'd expect for him to do today. He ran good routes. I didn't see him drop a ball at all. He won pretty much every matchup in 7-on-7 and team that I watched him with my own 2 eyes. I mean, he looked good, right? Of course, I was watching a lot of different things, but Ramel Keaton, I think it speaks volumes. And I'm at some point this week, a story is going to come out of VolQuest. I've already written it, but he didn't speak at media day. There was like 15 players, the coordinators, and Josh Heupel. Ramel Keaton wasn't one of those guys. That doesn't mean that he couldn't, but he just wasn't. He'll speak at some point this week or next week. But everybody was talking about Ramel Keaton. That was my biggest takeaway, leaving media day. I mean, there's a lot of different takeaways, but I'm like, okay, so I've got a Ramel Keaton quote from Heupel, from Halsley, from Cooper Mays, from Joe Milton. Are they going to bring Ramel out? Let me get him. Let's get this feature going, right? Like, everybody couldn't stop talking about Ramel Keaton, and I'm like, man, like, this was not the case last year. It certainly wasn't the case years before. Look at him. Hard work pays off, and he's gotten better and better and better, putting in the work. And I thought Kelsey Pope, was talking about Jalen Hyatt and after his 5-touchdown game against Alabama, coming back on the jugs machine and continuing to work and work and work. And he said, hey, it's hard to come in this building and not see Ramel Keaton. So he's going to be a starter this year, and he's earned that. And I'm super happy for him. Like that's one of the best stories in this program, in my opinion. But I also asked Joey Halsley about it was Joey Halsley that said that, by the way, not Kelsey Pope. Anyway, I asked Halsley yesterday. I was like, hey, you've got 4 guys. You only play 3 receivers. How's this going to work? And he's like, that's a great problem to have. We're super excited about it. We're going to play more than 3 receivers. Those 4 guys are going to play. But I think you could see 4 wide receiver sets some. But again, that's just not Tennessee's base offense. They have to have a tight end out there. So, Thornton's going to play a lot. But you might see Thornton move outside, Squirrel come in, vice versa. Those 4 guys, Brew McCoy, Dante Thornton, Squirrel White, and Ramel Keaton are going to play. And I'm excited. I think that this wide receiver room, in my opinion, is a real strength for Tennessee. And this is a year after you lose the Biletnikoff Award winner and Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman.
Well, we got to get you out the door. I know you got things to do. I will do all the plugs and everything coming up here as soon as I get you out the door. But don't forget to go give Eric a sub. Go to Locked On Vols on YouTube. Give him your subscription. Make it the first listen of the day because he works hard and I sleep in. Mine will be the second listen of the day, and that's fine. But the crossovers are coming every Monday morning right here on Talkin Vols, every Friday morning on Locked On Vols. Kainer, I appreciate you coming on, buddy. Always a good time.
Hey, man, I feel like I just got here. Can't wait to do this every single week, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys. Happy football season.
All right, man. Looking forward to it, man. The crossovers are going to roll on. We have a busy schedule. As of right now, going to live stream every single Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to do that up till football season. Just got a text confirmation from Ben McKee over at GoVols 247. He's going to be in the house next Wednesday. So next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, he's going to come on. We're going to talk about what we've seen in the first week of fall camp. I love Ben McKee. He brings great coverage. I can just throw him a question and sit back and listen. So I am looking forward to that. And then, like I said, we'll see who pops up. We're going to have some special guests coming up every single Wednesday. We got a super chat, $10 from Happen. Appreciate the super chat, brother. The way we've been recruiting, man, why can I not talk? The way we've been recruiting is getting us instant impact guys and players that build for the future. Crazy to see the change in 2 years. Get used to the new normal for the orange and white under hype. I agree with that. I think we're back. I think we've turned the corner, and I think what we are seeing in the class of 24 is proving that. Now, I think Tennessee can't go out and lay an egg, right? They cannot go out and lay an egg in 2023. You go out and win your fair share. Now, what does that mean? Is it 8 wins? Is it 10 wins? Is it 9 wins? Like, what's the number for 2023 to continue that momentum, right? You have to continue that momentum as we move forward. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited about this upcoming season. We got 300 people watching live. I'm going to get the X Factor and Coach Jay on here in just a second, but I got to show these off, man. I got to show these off because you guys asked for them. You guys like us to be vulgar around here. Like, I try to be civil. Beat Georgia is not good enough. Beat Bama is not good enough. You guys want a shirt that says F UGA. See, in my mind, it says Fuga. That shirt says Fuga, but you guys want it to say F UGA. So that's fine. That's fine. We'll roll these shirts out. You can see we've got T-shirts, long sleeve T-shirts. We got tank tops. These are brand new premium pullovers. This is a regular pullover, and these are great. All the ones that I've ordered have been great. This interests me. Whoever orders one of these first, let me know the quality on that. And I may actually just order one myself. But the Fuga shirts are there. Also, we've got these Gator Hater. If you hate the Gators, go check out that one. And then I added just an extra shirt here. Oops, hit the wrong button. Added an extra shirt here, the TriStar shirt. It's just clean, simple. Doesn't have anything Talkin VAWLS on it. You see the designs, and then there's multiple color schemes underneath, so you can pick and customize however you want to do. And then all the Faceables are there. Buck Fama's back, all that good stuff. We appreciate the way you guys support the channel. So go check out the new merch, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Also, the links are in the description. So let's get these clowns on here. Coach Jay, X Factor, what's up? My brothers from another mother. What's going on?
What's good? What's good, everybody?
Chilling, doing good, doing beautiful on this sunny California day.
I had to put the bat signal up because Cain came in. And he's like, he's showing me his tweet deck and all this stuff. And I'm like, we're talking. And then he accidentally deletes himself from the stream and he's gone. And I'm like, bro, it's 7:00. And then he comes back and he's like, oh, by the way, I got to leave early. We'll make it happen. I'll put up the bat signal and you guys will come in. Seth in the chat, where'd it go? Seth has spent $65 on merch today between me and Kalen. I appreciate that, Seth. Appreciate all that support, brother. Like merch. I try to come up with creative ways for you guys to enjoy the merch. I feel like it was so bland at first, but we're having fun with the Bonfire store over there now. What do you guys think? You guys listening to the show, what Cainer had to say? I know it was short and sweet. Coach, I was about to put up the bat signal for Saturday. What do you think about Amari Jefferson? Should we just go ahead and call that one off? I think it's over.
I think it's over. I'm just going to sit over here and sip on my orange Powerade and deal with that in stride, because – I think we're all right. I think our receiver room, I think every Volunteer fan would agree too, right? Like, I'm not really going to sit here and stress out about our receiver room under Heupel, especially with Matthews in the boat, especially with a Wingo still in the wings, if you will. And then with the cast of crew we got there, already, whether it be Ethan Davis at tight end or Nathan Laycock or shoot, even some of the other guys already on campus like Webb and the others, I think we're going to be just fine at wide receiver. I think we're going to keep on doing what this offense does. And I think Nico is going to keep on bringing in top end talent. If this offense can keep rolling, we'll be fine.
Yeah, and I agree with you too, Coach, because I was just sitting there just thinking, because all those basically, top recruit, wide receivers that you mentioned, I'm just sitting here thinking like Amari Jefferson's going to have to really compete to see that football field. And then I was also, confused about, because I know he wants to play baseball and football as well. And it's like, how do you really balance that schedule, because baseball and football season kind of blend in a little bit kind of together there. But the way that, that I see it is like, well, because I know he was a baseball commit. If he wanted to just focus on one sport, like Kaner said, it's like he kind of like had to choose which path he wanted to go. I feel like if he wanted to go the baseball route, obviously he should pick Tennessee. I mean, that's definitely a no-brainer because he met Tony V, and we've seen this past season what Tony V has done with the team that we have, and then what he's done with the team the year prior. So, but yeah, I really feel like that he's leaning more towards the football route. And hey, like Kaner said too, who doesn't want to go to Alabama and play with Nick Saban? Because you see their product, we know who Bama is. We've known him for the past couple of years, so yeah, I'd say that he's definitely going to end up at Bama. And for him to be an in-state kid too, I mean, I really hate to see him go, especially from Chat Town. Shout out to the listeners if you live in Chattanooga, Tennessee. But yeah, it just is what
Yeah.
it is, man. We'll get the next one.
Yeah, and I will say this though, if Bama's offense comes out and looks like Bama's offense looked against A&M without Bryce on the field, we could be talking about something way different in 2 months, also as well, because I'm not saying it will happen. I'm not the kind that's going to sit here and bury Bama early. Hey, look, they're recruiting at a high level. As long as Saban's there, they're going to have a ton of talent to work with. But you can still have a ton of talent to work with and fall off if your quarterback position isn't in order. It's the one position that can kind of bury your offense, even with talent on the field. So even Georgia with Stetson Bennett, I mean, Stetson was steady, right? Like they were steady. If you have someone that's only one dimensional and can't take care of the football and can't lead your team, your offense could struggle and it can bury you.
Definitely, for sure. Go ahead,
Stetson was a finish. He was more than efficient, right? A lot of people, it's a great. His Stetson Bennett story is a great story, but he when you're surrounded by 5 stars, it elevates you, right? But what we saw Hendon do last year, and that's why I think this year's such a big year because and this is battered VAWLS syndrome talking 100%. Is Hendon Hooker basically just Josh Dobbs saving Josh Heupel's career? And I don't think that at all. I don't think that that's the little devil on my shoulder saying, Boogie, this is how you should feel. And I'm like, no, hold on, Satan. Let me talk to the good Lord over here. And he's going to tell me that Josh Heupel is an offensive mastermind. But, circling back to Amari Jefferson, like Coach said, like I said in the video this morning, I don't think it matters. Like wide receiver is a position they're going to be fine at. And guess what? If they strike out the rest of the way, they'll go to the portal and grab somebody. They're going to be fine at receiver. And, Dante Thornton, I think, wants to come in and be one and done. But the reality is he's a junior, right? He's a junior. Squirrel White's a sophomore. I think Coach mentioned Caleb Webb. Chaz Nimrod's a guy that's going to come on. Nathan Laycock. We saw what Nathan Laycock did. Went from a 3-star that nobody's talking about to elevated. Crystal, for $10, thank you for the super chat. Number one Negavall's better half. The only reason I can tolerate number one Negavall. Where's your super chat, number one Negavall? But Crystal says, hey, Boogie, stopping by to say, hey, I appreciate that, Crystal. Shout out to you guys for taking care of the Talkin VAWLS decals and stickers. You guys can pick those up. Link is in the description below. We appreciate what they are doing for the community. Let's circle back around now. Let's talk a little bit about fall camp. Talking practice reports. When Caner was on, we talked about Joe Milton, his touch passes. We talked a little bit about Ramel Keaton, which really surprised me that Ramel Keaton did what he did. I guess I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that he flashed because that doesn't surprise me. I'm ready to hear about Dante Thornton. I'm ready to hear about Squirrel White. But let's move it on down here. We talked about the offensive line, Coach. Is that a position of concern? Mentioned Gerald Mincey was not practicing on the right side. Instead, he was on the left, playing back up to John Campbell. And then we've got Jeremiah Crawford. Oh, you got Dane Davis. You got a lot of guys. If you look at the depth chart for Tennessee, you got a lot of guys with experience, but not a lot of guys. The depth piece concerns me, right? You look across the board. Let's say John Campbell starts at left tackle. Ollie Lane, who's starting at left guard? Is it Ollie Lane? Is it Andrej Carrick? I don't know who it's going to be. Cooper Mays, solid. Javonte Spraggins, solid. Jeremiah Crawford, solid. I think you've got some depth at tackle, but at guard and center, Depth is what concerns me, man. Depth is what concerns me.
Yeah, I think we have enough talent to get an answer. I don't know exactly what that answer is, and shoot, the coaches might not know exactly what that answer is, but I think we have enough bodies to figure out the guard position. I think we're going to be strong in the run. I think I think we'll be strong with Sproggins and Mays on the run, and I like our backup center options with Addison Nichols as well. I think he'll be perfectly fine there. But yeah, I think between Mincy, Crawford, and the whole gang, we'll be all right at that guard position when push comes to shove. I think we could, in theory, be stronger in the run. I know someone in the super chat a minute ago was asking how we get Keith more carries. I don't know that you'll necessarily see Keith get more carries this year. I think the only way you would really see that is if we struggle at kind of rolling over our pass protection. If Dylan Sampson somehow doesn't put the pieces to the puzzle it pass pro together, I think that's the only way you see another running back, or if you see maybe Small injured for an extended period of time. Otherwise, I think the running back room is pretty set, and we'll continue to move along just fine here. Now, at the guard position too, do we see a freshman kind of, stronger freshman guy, either Shad or maybe even like a Vyson Lang, who's shown a lot of strength, push their way into the starting lineup? That's what remains to be seen.
I just wanted to highlight that super chat because you mentioned it. I thought it was an old one, but it was a new one that came through. So thank you, VFL Willie, for 2. Coach, how do we get Keith carries? Nelson and Jackson messaged me right before we went live. It's like, look how fit he is. I was like, all he was doing was busting my balls. Shout out Nelson. X, go ahead. You were about to say something. Go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna disagree with all that Coach said. Yeah, like I said, I feel like in the offensive line, I feel like it'll be pretty solid. But but for center and guard position, yeah, that is a little bit concerning. But I mean, hey man, look at the big recruit that we just had just the other day, man. I mean, that's definitely a big time recruit for us going into the year 24. So I feel like that, we're slowly building that depth up, but it's just going to take some time. But I think this year we're going to be pretty solid at it.
That's why you got to stack recruiting classes. That's what concerns me about this year is the depth, because Bennett Warren's huge, but Bennett Warren ain't going to play football this year. But Addison Nichols excites me a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see how fall camp plays out, man. The offensive line, but VolQuest brought up a good point. I can't remember if it was AP or if it was Brent Hubbs. I was listening to all the practice reports, trying to put everything together for the stream tonight. And somebody mentioned this offense, you don't need somebody like Trey Smith. You don't need a big mauler out there just bulldozing people because they're going to spread you out wide. You just need a boom punch and get open the lane. And then the middle of the field's wide open. So it's different. And he, as we always do when you're creating content, he said Trey Smith would have been just fine in this offense. Don't run with that narrative.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But, it's just the reality is you don't necessarily need those big road graders in this offense. So, but again, depth concerns me. The left guard position concerns me. What happens if Cooper Mays goes down? That concerns me. But the fact that he was hurt in the spring and Addison Nichols took so many reps at center, that's encouraging. Negaval for 5 says, wow, called out much. Dorfy and such. Slaughter going to get them interceptions early and often. Yeah, let's talk about Danico Slaughter. Let's see if Cainer mentioned him in his practice report. I'm scrolling through it here. I don't see that he was mentioned there. I think 247 Sports talked about him. Danico Slaughter.
Yeah, I say AP and Brent Huss was talking about. I say right before we hopped on, I was watching the 3-minute drill videos that they do, and he said that Slaughter was looking pretty solid in the corner position, saying he's just more confident in that spot and feels like that he can get downhill a lot quicker on the field. So I feel like Nico Slaughter, to answer that question, I mean, I feel like he'll probably get a few interceptions. I mean, I say the kid's an absolute baller. I mean, especially when you go back, last season, look what he did with Kentucky, man. I mean, it's just that's just all I think about when it comes to him. Is just, yeah, I think he's going to be a baller.
Yeah,
I don't want to throw shade at people, Coach, but Danico Slaughter locks down one corner, and then Gabe Judy Lolly, maybe Kamal Haddon locks down the other corner. Warren Burrell fading to the back of the room. Also, Jalen McCullough today, 247 Sports mentioned that he was kind of a leader on defense, being a vocal leader. He was running with the twos. And again, I'm not disrespecting kids, but it was my preaching point last year. We need somebody to pass these guys by. If they're not good enough, if they're not SEC level talent, then let the young kids, maybe an Andre Turrentine is going to pass by Tank McCullough. I don't know. What were you going to say, though, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got, several options. I think Torrentine, I think even Jordan Thomas could possibly step in at that other safety position. As far as Danico goes, to circle back around, I think Danico is going to really benefit from a full off season in the cornerback position. He played safety his whole life, but he's brilliant against the run. He's really great when he's just playing that boundary corner. So that short end corner on the field where you just got to cover that tight boundary. Everyone knows how deadly he is coming up against the run, and kind of similar to Joe Milton in those early games, like against Pitt. If Joe just corrects some of those big wide open overthrows, we're having a lot different conversations. Danico corrects one or two bad lineups and scheme decisions where he's been burnt deep. We might be talking about an All-American bid for Danico Slaughter at corner. And I know I picked on him a bit last year for not being able to line up and play football, which nothing ticks me off more than not being able to line up and play football. It's why I hated the Pruitt team so much, is because they just couldn't line up and play football. Nothing will get you screamed at.
So.
Yeah, nothing will get you screamed at more on a Coach J football field than not being lined up correctly. That will definitely get a Gatorade cup thrown at your helmet, certainly. But just stuff like that. But I do think he'll benefit from it, and I do think whether it's Gabe or whoever it may be, I think we'll just benefit from having one of those corner positions cemented down. Certainly, I think the secondary will be much improved.
Let me jam through some super chats here. Chandler Matthews for $20. That ain't cheap. $20 is not cheap. And he doesn't say anything. Just says, guys, here's $20. Enjoy the content. We appreciate that, man. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Very generous. Ed is for UT for $5. Please, someone, anybody tell me the secondary is going to be improved. That's what we're talking about right now. This is my hot take, man. I think the secondary is going to be better this year, and I think the defense as a whole is going to be better this year. And I think maybe the front four are better this year, and maybe they can get pressure with not having to bring these elaborate blitzes. And I think Tim Banks did a good job bringing some of that pressure. I think that was good to get to the quarterback. But maybe if the front four can get home, something that man, who sent it to me? I can't remember who sent it to me. I'm going straight to my Instagram because that's where it was. Let me scroll up. Let's see. Corey Culberson. Corey's been a long-time listener of the channel, and he sent me a clip of Davion Bradley. And he said after signing day, like once the pen hit the paper and he was a vault, there's no backing out. You're committed. He said Rodney Garner texted him and said, I'm on your ass now, so get ready. There's no more sunshine and rainbows. I'm going to tell you what to do and when to do it. And he said that, Coach G kind of stayed on him and was always texting him and saying, did you do this? Did you do that? Are you dialed in? And Davion Bradley was saying how appreciative he was of that because, he needs that. Maybe some guys need that guy that's on their ass constantly. And that's the type of coach that Coach G is. So I love to hear that. And maybe that front four can get after the quarterback. So we'll see. And I think that improves the back end. But I swear, I think the secondary, if you're seeing guys like Warren Burrell get passed by, if you're seeing guys like Tank McCullough get passed by, I think the secondary is going to be much improved. More bodies, more talent, more depth. This team has depth. A couple more here. Knoxville Predator catcher is back. This is a dude that is always riding with us during the season. He's like, Boogie, I really don't care about recruiting, so I'm going to pop back in when fall camp kicks off. I love it, guys. I love it. I get it. I understand. I was the same way until I paid my bills with recruiting. So shout out to Knoxville Predator Catcher for becoming a member of the channel. Guys, you can do it just down below. Hit the join button down below. There's 300 people watching live. If you're not a member, become a member. Hit that join button. $1, you get access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, fan call-in shows. When we do a live stream and there's 1,500 people watching after a big win over Florida, I highlight the member comments. I try to let you have a voice. So shout out to the members. You want to be a part of that, hit the join button down below. Shout out Knoxville Predator Catcher, a longtime listener. Carl Judkins for 10 says Vols win the Natty. Sir, excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir, I don't think you drank the Kool-Aid. I think you drank the bong water. Let's calm down. Maybe so. Vols win the Natty this year. Drunk. Look at Coach drinking that orange.
Oh, sorry.
Drunk on orange Kool-Aid. Let's play with this one. X, does Tennessee have a shot at a Natty this year?
Well,
if we get Orange Bowl Joe, does Tennessee have a shot?
Man, that's a tough question, man. But I will say this though. Well, I think Well, to answer the question, do I think will the Vols win a Natty this year? No, but do the expectations of this team? I feel like that we should go back to Atlanta and win the East. I really feel like that's probably where this team should be at, because it's funny because I was just scrolling through social media and I forgot one of the offensive linemen came out. I think he was in an interview and he said a quote saying that he said, we're hungry. Like we are hungry to either win the East or even win a national championship. So
was it Gerald Mincy
I
that
think it
tweeted
was
out and
Gerald
said,
Mincy.
Florida, we finna whip your ass? It was Georgia. It was Georgia. He was doing it Georgia.
Yeah, it was Georgia that
Ballsy,
said
man.
that. Oh yeah, well, and I mean, but just think about it, Boog, man. I mean, because we were on a really good hot streak. Then we went down to Athens. Georgia showed who the number one team really was. So I mean, there's a little bit of bad blood right there, and it's like the clip that we always play. Look, hey, to be the man, you got to beat the man, and obviously the man right now is Georgia. And I said, and I cannot wait till they come to Neyland Stadium. Like we're gonna show up and show out. Can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, do they have the ability? Yeah, probably. We're starting to build that talent. You're going to need all those things to fall into line for that to happen, right? You're going to have to find that guard.
Yeah.
You're going to have to, God willing, not get any injuries early in the year, middle in the year, and later in the year. You're going to have that secondary take a step, and Joe Milton's going to have to catch fire, right, in order for that to happen. So, we'll see, right? It remains to be seen, but the important thing is that we continue to grow and we continue to move forward as a team. Heupel's got this team moving in the right direction. I don't think anyone has any doubts about that. No. So, and we should be content with that as long as we continue to make progress. I don't know if making progress always even means one more win than the year before. I think a lot of times people put the stock into that, rather than just stock into growing and getting better. It is a complete team.
We jammed through a few more super chats. Knoxville Predator Catcher back with another 10. Coach Josh Heupel said the defense will be elite, not just good. August means it's almost ball time, boys. I think 10-2 is the record. I love that quote from Hype because I think we as fans, myself included, I said it over and over and over. Like this defense just needs to be efficient. And Heupel's like, piss on that. That's not good enough. 10-2 would be a great year. Like I think 10-2 would be really solid based on the recruiting, right? The young corners that are coming in. It's hard to count on young corners to contribute. Arian Carter, like, did you hear what he said about Jeremiah T-Lander? Both of those guys, like Arian Carter adding 20 pounds. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Shout out Coach Jay for putting the spotlight on Arian Carter. Everybody can pretend that they were the first. It happened right here on this channel first. Coach Jay was the first to start diving into Arian Carter is going to play significant football as a freshman, and now it's the hot topic. Everybody's saying it. Everybody. But Arian Carter adding 20 pounds. Come on, let's go. Brain Chadman for $5. Thank you for the super chat. I'm late, but I'm here. I'm so ready for this season start. Also ready for the Talkin VAWLS live streams, day after shows, and call-in shows, GBO. Brain, thank you for that super chat and for that plug. It's full steam ahead. Like I said, every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, we're going to do a live stream until the season starts, and that's going to continue to roll on throughout the year. So every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. I'm going to probably the week before the season starts, we're doing the Tennessee Trinity, myself, BVD, and Sports Talk Jay. We're going to kick it off right here on a Monday, the Monday before the Virginia game. We're going to jump on and do a live stream that night. Also, the morning stream start that week, the week before the Virginia game. So Monday morning, Eric Cain will be in the house. Friday morning, myself and Coach Jay are going to be doing a live stream. I'm going to try to bring a cast of characters, whether that's Ben McKee, A to Z Sports, whoever I can get to jump on with me and Coach on Friday morning. And then also Sundays, the week before the Virginia game, Sunday night. I don't know the time yet, probably 7 o'clock, fan call-in show. So Monday, morning show. Monday, the first Monday before the Virginia game. The Holy Trinity of Tennessee football. Tuesday nights, NCAA streams. Wednesday nights, Talkin VAWLS live at 7 o'clock. Thursday, I guess I'm going to take a vacation day. Friday morning, me and Coach Jay. And then Saturdays, it's off to the races. Tailgate shows, all that fun stuff. Video sprinkled all in between. Make sure, if you're watching this right now and you're not subscribed, get subscribed, click the bell so you don't miss out. I know the schedule gets convoluted because there's so much content going up. Rocky Top time for 5. Been talking good players. How about the schedule? Visiting the Swamp is key to the whole season. Right? Does that win propel us to 7-0 for the third Saturday? We can talk about that. This is a good talking point because I made a video on this. I think the whole season hinges on this Florida game. Let me get that super chat. Thank you, Rocky Top Tom, for the super chat. But X, I know you hate Florida. You're a Gator hater. How important is that, man? I talked about it last year. Undefeated in September. This team's going to roll. You beat Florida. You're looking at undefeated in September. I think we're going to throttle South Carolina, and I think you carry that momentum to the Texas A&M game. You're 6-0 to start the season. Something special could be in the works.
Oh, yes, sir. I really, truly believe it. Yeah, because, hey, let's bring it on, Gators. Bring it on. Because, like I said, you know me. I'm a big Gator hater. Like I said, if you're a Gator hater, cop the merch. But yeah, I really think that starting out 7-0 was very promisable. Now, I will say the Texas A&M game, I'm not scared, but I'm going to just call that a toss-up game. Because,
It is a toss-up.
Yeah, it is a very toss-up because, yes, we know what happened, last season with them getting embarrassed and, losing to App State, shout out to them. But, I mean, they still got a pretty dang good defense. There's pretty good defensive teams. So, I mean, it's really going to be a battle between our offense against their defense. So, that one's going to be pretty interesting to see. Like you said, Book, South Carolina's going to be pretty jam-packed. I mean, hopefully that's definitely a revenge game. Bama, Kentucky. Bama, I'm a little concerned about because even though I would love to go down to Tuscaloosa and beat them and tear their goalposts down, I would love to see it, but I don't think that's going to happen. Kentucky, we are Kentucky's daddy. I said we're going to manhandle that. That's not even a topic to talk about. UConn is interesting. I feel like that's more of a dub. Missouri, I feel like Missouri is a dub. I mean, it could go either way. Just depends on how we're rolling. And then, of course, the big one for you, Boogie, is Georgia. I know you want to beat Georgia so bad, Boogie, especially in Neyland Stadium. Like I said, we're going to show up, we're going to show out, but that one's a toss-up, man. I got to give that one as a toss-up. And then, of course, little brother at the end of the season, that's definitely going to be a big dub.
Coach, when you look at the schedule, give me the toss-ups. What are the games that concern you?
For toss-ups, I'll go A&M, Bama, and Georgia are kind of my main concerns. Could I change my mind about Florida after their opener and our opener? Yeah, I guess I could. I mean, we'll see. Baby Billy over there in Florida has kind of said they're light years in front of where they were last year. Is that true? Is it coach speak? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. The Swamp certainly has not been a friendly field, and as anyone who's played football or been on a football field, there's just some fields that suck, man, and you don't even like showing up to the stadium. The locker room smells bad, and you got crap memories there, and the cheerleaders on the other team have one tooth, and it's scaring you. And all kinds of weird problems. So we'll I guess Florida, I will hold my judgment till after week 1. I hope we chomp them up. I definitely hate me some Florida Gators too. I think anyone from Boogie in my generation anyway, X, although you're kind of on that new school and you hate them. So definitely hate the Gators, but we'll see. They've got a lot of new pieces. They've got talent, but it's a lot of new imported talent to that team. So how quickly can you gel together is going to be the name of the game for them. Let's see how they do against Utah in a revenge game for the Utes week 1, and how smooth do we look against Virginia, and if we can beat the mammoth of a school of Austin P, then we'll be all right.
It's step by step for me, right? It's Tennessee's it's 28-point favorite over Virginia, but I still, it shows you the identity of the team, right? We get a chance to see what they look like, and then Austin P, it is what it is. We might as well sleep in, but come hang out with Talkin VAWLS because we need you guys. And then Florida, right? So it's Virginia. What do you look like? Florida. You go take care of business. You go manhandle Florida. And then I think we're rolling through the first half of the season 6-0. I really truly believe that if they go beat the brakes off of Florida, and I made a video on it, I think it was yesterday, talking about starting new streaks and the fact that Tennessee's favored by 7.5 on the road over Florida. Let's freaking go! Like Vegas didn't get built by me winning; they got built by me losing. They know more than me. So 7.5 favorites. Let's freaking go. A couple more super chats here. Look, here's the deal, guys. We're almost an hour in. We're going to continue to talk a little bit about fall camp. Do you guys want us to listen to Josh Heupel's press conference today? He met with the media after practice. If you guys want us to listen to that, you know what you can do? You can show up, show out, show love. Super chats, join the channel, whatever you need to do. Make Boogie realize we need to stay live and not call it a night. Don't go to sleep, Boogie. Stay live. You guys know what to do. Support this channel. We appreciate it. Wayne Stars for 5. Wayne always supports this channel. Thank you for the $5. Wayne says, late, but I made it. Entry fee, go Vols. Wayne, did you just show up because Eric left? Is that what you're doing? all those NCAA people know what I'm talking about. Is that what's going on, Wayne? Shout out, Wayne. Appreciate the $5, brother. Wayne is a huge supporter of this channel. Jimmy Burnett becomes a member of the channel. You can do that for $1. Hit the join button down below. $1 a month. Thank you, Jimmy. We appreciate it. Show him what he's won. Put the custom Talkin VAWLS emojis in the chat. We would appreciate it. But look, if you don't want to do that, you don't want to drop super chats or join the channel or buy merch or any of that stuff. Wayne's laughing. He knows what I'm talking about. Look, you can help the channel quick, free, and easy. Hit the thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up just below. Share it out. Let somebody know we're live. Again, we're going to be going live every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock from now until the end of football season. Next week, already got a text from Ben McKee. He's going to be in the house. Ben McKee, Go Balls 247, is going to be here next week breaking down the first week of fall camp. So make sure you guys come hang out for that. I want to throw a question at you guys. X, I'm going to lead you off here. I had this posed and ready to go for Eric Cain, but he had to bounce early. Here's the question. Who needs to have the best fall camp? One player who needs to have the best fall camp to make an impact and help this football team in 2023? Is it somebody like Ethan Davis, who great to see him back on the football field after that injury in the spring game? Is it somebody on the offensive line? Is it somebody in the secondary? Give me one player that you think needs to have a great fall camp to make an impact come this fall.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, you answered it, Boogie. I think it's Ethan Davis because you know that we're really, really thin at the tight end position. So I really do feel like that, yeah, I mean, if this man can just stay healthy and, you know, he can get us over through the hump, I really think that he will definitely make a good impact for us. But then, you know, it's also funny because I was also kind of going back and thinking of, too, that, you know, also remember, like I said, that Ramel Keaton. You know, I mean, there's been times where he can kind of fill in as a tight end position. Like maybe you can have like sneak in a wide receiver, a big wide receiver, somebody like a Brew McCoy maybe to play in as a tight end. So, but yeah, I really feel like that Ethan Davis is going to be a big impact for us. I just hope that he can definitely stay healthy.
Coach?
Yeah, it's tempting. I almost went Jacob Warren immediately, but I'm going to go over to the defensive side for the big shocker there, right? Defensive coach going to the defensive side of the ball. I actually am going to go with Danico Slaughter that we were talking about earlier. I think we need to shore up that position. If Danico can take that next step and fix that one little loophole in his game, with his closing speed and his ability to stop the run, he would be a lockdown corner for us. Things get a lot easier when you have one lockdown corner in the secondary. It gives your front seven more time to get to the ball. It corrects a lot of the issues we've been having on the back end as well. I'm going to go with Danico Slaughter at corner. I know, kind of a weird one, but my
No,
choice.
it's a good. That's
Yeah,
a good one.
pretty
That's a
good.
good. That's a really good one. I think if you can get, I feel like the corner position has been so mediocre lately, and it's like, can somebody please step up and lock down a spot? And again, I think it's encouraging if Warren Burrell's not on the field against Virginia to open the game. I think that's encouraging because I think the talent has passed him by. So we'll see how that plays out. Negaval says Boogie's number one player, McAllen Castles. I would love nothing more than McAllen Castles to show up and make an impact. But I would almost agree with X. I think it's Ethan Davis for me because I think he's got so much talent, man. And you're talking about probably third string. Like Jacob Warren is going to be your starter. McAllen Castles is going to be in there making plays. You need depth, man, because they're so thin. You said it, X. They're so thin at tight end. So again, you staying healthy is important, man. On the offensive line, tight end position, extremely important to stay healthy there. I think across the board they got some pretty good depth. That's something we've not seen at Tennessee in quite some time. But I would go Ethan Davis. I want him to. And look, how excited would you be if kind of like Dylan Sampson, you see Ethan Davis make plays this year, and it's like, okay, what's he going to look like as a sophomore with Nico running the offense, right? What's Cam Seldon going to look like as a sophomore with Nico running the offense? That's what excites me, and that's why I feel like we're kind of in a weird year. Like 2023, we're in a weird year. A lot of people are saying 2024 is going to be Tennessee's year, and maybe it is. Maybe it is. We'll see what Nico does this year. Hopefully, he grasps the offense. I think, based on what coaches said, based on everything I've seen, I think he's a good kid that's going to work hard, and he's going to be ready to go. He's going to be ready to go next year when the torch is passed. The question is he ready to go if Joe Milton struggles in the swamp? That's the big question. But I digress. What do you guys want to do? I'm going to let you two decide. You guys want to watch Josh Heupel's press conference, or do you want to call it a day at an hour and wrap this thing up?
Survey says.
I about to say, well, Coach, I'm gonna listen to you just like I'm about to go on the field. What's the play call, Coach?
It's always power. It's always power. Ask Boogie. The play call is always power.
I tried to shield
power,
for money,
right?
and it didn't work. I tried to shield for money and say, drop those super chats. You guys drop the super chats. Yep. We'll watch the press conference. And they said, we're good. Let's call it. Let's go to bed at an hour. Let's call it at an hour.
I will say this, and someone dropped it in the comments a minute ago. I do think I agree with kind of all the fall magazines that you don't want to put too much stock into, but I do think we've kind of got a little bit of a secret weapon this year in D. Williams back there on the punt return and shoot, maybe even on the kick return too. The kid is just flat out electric in the punt return game. He makes fast SEC players look slow. It makes you wish the kid could figure it out at cornerback. I don't know what the story is there, if they'll ever get him on that page. I don't know if he's just slow to pick up the speed of the game. I don't know if they have to put an L on one thigh pad and an R on the other thigh pad so he knows which way to go or what the story is. But I know he can return punts very quickly. So I'm excited about what we can do in punt return this year. Certainly.
Yeah, I feel like you can put D or even Squirrel White in punt return. I think it'd be pretty fun to see Squirrel White in punt return too, because like they said the kid is lightning fast too. So I would love to see that.
Yeah, for sure. They'd be tempted to split back there on kick return as well. However, I don't know if I want big football players running full speed downhill and hitting Squirrel White on a full sprint. That might not be a good thing.
Rocky Top Tom for 5 says, I got 5 on it. I got 5 on it. Isn't that a song? I got 5 on it.
Loonies.
Press conference. Coach is the man. I keep telling Coach he needs his own YouTube channel. He won't do it.
I think
he won't do it. Sorry. He wants to be part of the community.
Busy
and that's
man.
fine. Yeah, he's a busy man, so I'll put him to work for me. All right, I'm putting Coach and X to work for probably another 20 minutes. This is like a 10-minute interview. This is Coach Josh Heupel. If you want to say thank you, like Rocky Top Tom did, you can drop a super chat. Or if you don't have a power T beside your name, you can join the channel for $1. $1. Look, I'm on that grind, man, because here's the deal. At the end of the season, I was living the dream. I'm like, okay, I'm quitting my job. January rolls around. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not working for the man anymore. And then guess what happened? All the memberships got canceled. And Boogie gets nervous. But thank God for NCAA football, because NCAA football pays the bills. David Hall for 10 says you talked me into it. LOL. Appreciate you guys and love the channel. Appreciate that, David. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate you. I could not do this without you guys. Look, ad revenue is in the garbage right now. It's almost been cut almost in half in the last 2 years. So I only pay the bills off the super chats and the membership. So thank you, David. Appreciate that, brother. Negative all for 2 says give the people what they want. That's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to Josh Heupel and what he had to say after practice number 1. Let's take a listen. Sweet Jesus, if we get banned from streaming, I'm in trouble. Let's see what happens.
Great first day, ton of energy as you would anticipate. We need to keep that energy up as we go through training camp.
Let's go.
Obviously not in shoulder pads, so a lot of fundamental work, some group work as well, and then a little bit of teamwork. But overall, pleased with it. And we'll open it up for questions.
I wanted to ask him a question when they said that.
Measure success for the first day.
Wait a second. First question. This is something I used to do to JP all the time. Coach Jay, you got the floor. First question. What are you asking? Day 1 fall camp. What are you asking?
Is Arian Carter starting at middle linebacker week 1?
I think
no. I think I would ask him, do you anticipate anything changing from, moving into more empty sets from just 3 wide to 4 wide at any point from a scheme standpoint?
But don't you think it makes it tough because they go quick? So if you go empty, and that's why I love, Ryan Wingo in his scouting report says he could slide in at running back. Cam Seldon can play wide receiver or running back, and I think that gives them that option where you can still go quick and go 4 wide. You can still go 3 wide, whatever you want to do.
And that's what I was about to say is I think we've started to recruit ourselves into that position. And I think even in this class that we're working on right now, there's a couple players that will add to the viability of being able to do that as well. We'll see how far Cam Seldon will come along. But the kid looks like a mustard bottle emoji to me, and I think he'll be great.
All right, let's roll it. Let's see what Coach had to say.
Overall, pleased with it, and we'll open it up for questions.
Thanks, Wayne.
Hey, Coach, how do you measure success for the first day of fall camp?
Part of it coming out healthy. We're intentional and, just the positions that we're putting our guys in early in training camp. I think that's important for the long haul. Also just, fundamental, great fundamental work and, where we start, you're looking backwards and where you finish training camp. Have we continued to grow and make strides over the course of the summer? And, feel like we've done that. Obviously, going back and watch the tape will tell a whole lot more. And then your young guys, how quickly are they transitioning into what you're doing based on what we did in the summer? So those are things that, you get done with practice, you'll be able to tell.
How different is the game, though, now, X? Like the fact that most of these kids we're here for spring camp, right? So you come into fall camp and you talk about one of the big things is knowing where to be, right? You're going through practice and you're walking around like a freaking chicken with its head cut off. You have no idea where to go, where to be. Most of these kids were here for bowl practice. That's why getting to a bowl game when you're rebuilding is crucial, because they were able to take part in that. And it's not like they're participating or doing anything, but they're seeing the structure, what practice looks like. And then spring camp, same thing. They get to go through that. So how like it's so the game's different, X. It's different. They get to be a part of that. So when you get to fall camp day one, you're ready to roll.
Oh yeah, and then also too, NIL is definitely a major big game changer. In today's college football world too. And like what you said, Book, for them to like I said, to see the structure of everything of how it's all come together, like going to spring practice and then eventually going to fall practice, and then it should make those kids really sit and think like, why did you come here? Like why did you choose to come play for Tennessee? And it's something really special, man. And like I said, because we always hear how they love the environment, they love the atmosphere and the culture and in the locker room and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it should really point to is that why should you come here? And then once they go through that whole process and they see the grind, they see the struggle of going through practice with their brothers, it just makes them really appreciative of it.
Coach, anything to add, or you want me to hit play?
No, keep it rolling.
All right.
Can you talk about Emmanuel Okoye and starting him out at tight end and just what kind of athlete and player he is?
Yeah, was a great basketball player too. Got a chance to watch some of the footage, his athletic traits, being able to watch his hands a little bit on the basketball court too, and felt like that would transition over. Length, athleticism. That's why we started him at the position that we did. He's got a long, great football journey ahead of him. Today was day one for him on the field. You think about where he was 12 months ago and where he's at today. Man, it's a drastic difference in the competition and everything that he's facing. Excited about him because he's urgent, he cares, he continues to grow from day to day and rep to rep. But it's a long process here as we begin this journey with him.
Shout out to Pit Boss for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that, brother. Says thank yous, GBO. Thank you, Pit Boss. We appreciate that super chat. Thank you for the support, brother. Coach, what do you think about Emmanuel Okoye, a guy that's coming in with a ton of potential, a ton of athleticism, and again, shout out VolQuest. Always plugging VolQuest. Why don't they plug us? They never plug it. They never say, shout out Boogie, he said this. Shout out Coach Jay said that. Whatever. Shout out to VolQuest talking about like position changes. And one of the names that Cainer brought up was Jason Witten, a guy that is going into the Hall of Fame as a tight end, and he wanted to play defensive end at Tennessee. He's a guy that right around the corner from my neck of the woods was a stud defensive end. But he came to Tennessee, he played tight end, and now he's going to be a Hall of Famer at that position. What do you think about a guy like Emmanuel Okoye, who coming in tight end, defensive end, where does he end up? There's some guys that Tennessee's recruited on the offensive line that could, or on the defensive line that could ultimately transition over to the offensive line. So I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you. What do you think about Emmanuel Okoye? Good luck. Good luck figuring out where I'm going.
Yeah, let me get through that. Oh, so high school kids usually want to play a position, but they don't end up there. Kind of like Jonathan Eccles, maybe wanting to play tight end, but it's going to play defensive end. Yeah, I won't let it go. Sorry, guys. But anyway, I took a couple things from what Coach was saying right there. Thing number one was you're not going to see that kid for this year or possibly even next year. Just based on when he picked up football. But the other thing is everything we've heard about that kid is he's an absolute freak of nature in every single category. He's just bigger, faster, stronger than everyone and more athletic than everyone. As soon as the light bulb does come on for that kid, I think he probably will be a one and done kid after that. If the light bulb comes on, the college game is and football as a general, the higher up you get into it, it's not only a high IQ game that you've got to be smart enough to play, but it's a game that you have to, kind of be calm, cool, collected, and make those quick IQ decisions under fire. Will that light come on for him is what we need to find out. But I love that they're, I think in the modern transfer, portal era, it's really easy not to take on the developmental kids because you can just reach out to the portal with those positions and bring them in instead, right? On a proven commodity. It's nice to see that they're kind of doing that with this kid. I know they're also bringing in that kid in the current class that's like, what, 6'8" or something like that. I can't think of the kid's name right now. But Jeremiah's Hurd, I believe is his name. And it's nice to see that we're still doing that. I know we had also that big tackle body Grant, I think, in the class before that was a big body. So it's nice that we're still bringing in on those developmental kids, because you never know when you're going to hit a Jason Witten or a JJ Watt or something like that. And you want to make sure you're swinging at the fences at kids like that. Certainly. I just think we were getting some coach speak for, I'm excited, but he's not ready.
Yeah, that's the one. Jeremiah's Hurd is the guy that everybody talks about, saying that he's why am I getting
6'9", 280 is
what ultimately a tackle, right? Ultimately a tackle.
You would think so.
So, and we'll see how that plays out. But and it's the same with Okoye, but a guy that's so raw athleticism to me. And I'm not trying to dumb down the defensive line, but it's like, hey, bro, you see the quarterback there?
Go kill that guy.
Go get him.
Yeah.
Whereas offensive line is so detailed and so many checks and communication. Shout out Papa T. What's up, brother? Good to see you in the chat, my man. Says Boogie, all aboard the hype train. Our offense is going to be elite with Joe slinging the rock. Our backfield wide receiver is going to be must-see TV 10 and 2 or better. And then he drops those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Appreciate that, Papa T. Thank you for dropping in, buddy. Thank you for the support, man. He's the top donor. I got to go in and do a little work and update the leaderboard, because it's always weird when it's a new month, like it's August the 2nd. So I got to go in and update not only the top donor for the stream at $20, but also Papa T's the top donor for the month. Papa T's a good dude, man. He's one of those guys that I talk when I can. When Twitter doesn't limit me to the number of messages I can send, Papa T is always there ready to talk some football. Appreciate the support, brother. Thank you for the super chat. Let's hear more from Josh Heupel.
Nathan Robinson and David Hobbs, they didn't go through spring, but they were obviously around. What do you think they learned just being able to watch how practice goes and that type of thing to put them maybe a touch ahead of those guys that arrived in June?
Well, I think as much as anything for them, they get a lot of it outside of, truly being the guy doing the rep. They get all the installs. They have a great understanding of our defense, right? They understand the fundamentals and technique that we're talking about. They've continued to have an opportunity to grow a little bit more during the course of the summer than they did spring ball that way. But at the same time, they're much further ahead than a guy that this is the first day that they've ever been on the practice field with our football team. They understand the flow. They understand the expectations. And now it's about, going out there, doing a lot of things right, probably making a bunch of mistakes too. Just don't make the same mistake twice and continue to grow as a football player really, really quickly.
When we talked to Squirrel yesterday, it seems like he's sort of coming out of his shell a little bit. His person,
sort of, or a lot.
a lot.
Yeah.
What have you seen the changes in him as he's grown off the field over the past year, and what do you think he's done on the field to maybe get adjusted to the college game?
Well, I think it's, for you guys, a glimpse into his true and real personality. Initially getting here, being in a different environment, new people, and being in, at this level of college football. He was very intentional in how he worked and competed, but I think at times you didn't see maybe his true personality we've seen it inside the building for a lot longer than you all have because we interact with them every single day. I just feel like, the back third of last season, we got a chance to see a little bit more of it. And certainly since we've been back this entire offseason, you've gotten to see a true sense of, who he is and what he's about outside of just lining up and playing football at a really high level. He cares. He's really engaging. He likes to have fun. He comes out with a great energy every single day, competes really hard. And, today was really good, but, that's who he is. That's how he competes every day.
It's funny listening to them talk about personalities because I was having this conversation with my wife yesterday, like talking about like Cain. Like a lot of people are like, oh, he's a radio voice. And then he comes on with me and he drops that stick. And it's like, oh, I'm just a dude. And people love that. And somebody in the chat, I think it was NCAA Not this week, was like, I think if you got AP on multiple times, you could break him down too. And I was like, I think it's just because we're laid back. Like our channel is laid back. We bring out people's personalities. And she's like, yeah, but not everybody has that personality. Like they may just be a stick in the mud. They may not be entertaining. And I'm like, yeah, that's why they don't get invited back. You got to have a personality to come back on the Talkin VAWLS network. But it's funny to hear him talk about Squirrel kind of grow. And man, X, how we're talking about a kid coming off of his freshman year, and he was making a lot of plays last season, a la Joshua Josephs, who we saw make a lot of plays. We're talking about young talent. How big of a year can Squirrel have, man?
Hey, the sky's the limit, man. And like I said, we've all talked about it last season. Like, we heard the talks and the rumors saying that it's like, hey, this kid is really, really fast on the field. And like what you said, Boog, this kid made some very explosive plays. One of the most explosive plays I remember is against that Vanderbilt game. For him to make, it was like a 60, 70 yard, catch. That was pretty impressive, especially, from Joe. And that's the big key, I feel like, going into this season too. Him and Joe really have like that kind of chemistry there. My only concern is with Squirrel though, is that I really hope that he kind of put on just a little bit of weight, not too much to where it's gonna slow his speed down. But like I said, when we talked about earlier about him, being that having punt return, yeah, you're gonna have some big guys coming at him pretty fast. So I just kind of hope that he's kind of put on just a good cushion size weight to protect himself a little bit. But yeah, I really think he's gonna have a breakout season. Then I'm also waiting for that video of him and Dylan Sampson coming out, which one's gonna be the fastest. So because it was funny, they came out and they said they was like, oh yeah, that's you can't beat me, and he was like, oh for real? All right, well we're gonna make a video about this. So I'm still waiting for that video to come out.
Yeah. No, I think Squirrel's gonna have a great year as well, and I think we're going to see him in a new multitude of ways as well compared to last year. I think we're going to see him out of motion a lot. I think we're going to see him in jet sweep some. I think we're going to see him coming off of motion on some of those back end swing passes that we used to run to Jalen too. And then of course, you can basically just have Joe throw it as far as he can throw it and let Squirrel go run underneath it and catch it, right? And I think it's part of what creates that chemistry. But all off season, what I kept seeing in Squirrel White was just and even as a recruit, Swain was saying it a lot, and is that his routes are just super crisp. He has super crisp, clean, quick NFL caliber routes out there, like Wes Welker level routes, and he's cleaned that up more and more, and I can't wait to catch a glimpse of him in the camp now that it's started, because I've got a sneaking suspicion that he might have even been gotten a little bit crispier, a little extra crispy crunch for Squirrel White.
I get excited seeing Jalen Hyatt have success in the Giants camp. It's like, oh, it's just speed. It's just speed. And watching him torch people, is it speed or is it speed and route running? Like route running, how much does running a crisp route, how much does that add to your 40 time? We got 250 people watching. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Go check out the merch. You guys know the deal. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. We've got the brand new Fuga shirts. Look at these. They're so crisp. They're so clean. Some people say Fuga. Some people say that this shirt means F UGA, almost like you need a dash in it. Like if you're going to read this shirt, you got to say F UGA. What I say is Fuga, because I like you guys asked for it and I said, okay, I'll create it. It's a Fuga shirt. I don't know what Fuga means, but some people say F UGA. If you want to be a little bit more of a Christian, you can get the Gator Hater shirt. check out the merch. All kinds of styles, colors. Look, guys, you like this style, but you're like, I don't want to wear a black hoodie. Look, you can go down here and pick the custom color that you want. All kinds of styles, customization, whatever you guys want. Also added the new Tri-Star shirt. I dig this one, man. I like this baseball style. Where are the colors? Let's see. Boom, that one's good. That one's good. I think that's the winner right there. I dig that. I like the gray. But you guys can check it out. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Buck Fam is back. I added this. This is a premium pullover. I don't know what this means. I hope somebody buys one and I can see what it means. I think I may buy one. Also, Crystal. I don't know if Crystal's still in the chat. Was like, Boogie, can we get tank tops with Buck Fama? They're added. You can go check those out.
Yeah. Miss J wants a Razorback, Boogie. She was in my ear about it. I was like, I don't know if they have Razorbacks on a bonfire.
Yes, they do. Let me go. Let's see. I think it was State Pride. I can add whatever you guys want. So if you guys want it, let me know.
Yeah, we gotta show love. We gotta show love to the Lady Balls out there.
There you go. There you go.
I'm trying to show love.
I know
For the fans by the fans.
That's right.
Yeah,
you guys have a voice. There you go. There's the Razorback. See, there's the Razorback. Talking Balls Elite.
Oh, there you go.
So I can definitely add that for Buck Fama or Fuga, whatever you guys want. Whatever you guys want. We'll make it happen. Don't let me forget though, because 100% I'm gonna forget. As soon as we get off here, I will not think twice about it, because that's the way I live my life. But there you go. Go check out the merchandise. Appreciate all the support. Let's share this thing up and let's show more of Josh Heupel after practice number 1.
Couple of things, Josh. You talked a lot about the competition with this team. Did you even sense that on the first day, even in helmets, guys running around? Could you sense the competition on the team? And going back to Hobbs, what do you think he can sort of bring your defensive line?
Not speaking of Wayne, shoot me an email, buddy. Let me know which shirt and style. Wayne won a shirt like 3 months ago and said, wait for it. And I want the Fuga shirt. So Wayne, make sure you text me the style, size, color, all that good stuff. We'll get it sent your way, buddy.
Not just today on the field, seeing the competition and feeling it, but it's driven guys in the summer too. And, that's in how they're preparing their bodies, but also in the meeting room, when we get a chance to spend a little bit of time with them or out on the grass. There is a heightened sense of competitiveness because, there's other guys in the building that look like them, have the athletic traits that they do too. And so we felt that all off season, felt that today too. Just, I think it was Austin yesterday, mentioned something about some of you guys playing linebacker for us our first year here. You go ones, you go twos, you go next guys up threes. Man, there's real players at all levels right there that we certainly didn't have early in my tenure here.
Mincy and Crawford obviously split time kind of all last year at left tackle. Would you like to have your 2 tackles set by the opener?
The reality is we're going to need all those guys to play. That's been proven over time everywhere that I've been and since I've been here too. At the end of the day, this is the time of year where you got to let the competition unfold. Guys that are consistent and are playing at a high level and doing all those things at a championship level are the guys that you got to find a role with. We'll see where that ends up by the end of training camp.
I imagine today, Josh, that a lot of it was about kind of retaining what you all worked on in the spring and over the course of the summer. Do you feel like today was pretty clean from that sense of retaining information?
Yeah, you reset. As you go through spring, you continue to add to your installs. You do some of that in the summer. You get back here, now it's going to come faster than it did in spring ball just because you're practicing back-to-back days, but you are resetting to the beginnings of who you are structurally in all 3 phases. That's also why, guys reset and they grow. And my expectations were when we got out there that they were dramatically different players than they were when we finished spring ball, in particular, our young guys. I think the guys that have been inside of our program, that's, freshmen as well. I thought today you could see them retain, but execute at a higher level, better fundamentally. I thought that offensively, defensively, in our individual work and some of our group work, and then special teams as well today. So, without going back and watching the tape yet, pleased with where those guys are. The new guys inside of our program, you got to understand it's the first day for them, right? And there's a lot of things that those guys got to clean up for us to practice the way that we want to. But all in all, pretty pleased.
Coach, it kind of goes back to what I talked about with X earlier. How the game has changed. The early enrollees being able to participate in bowl practice and spring camp. Like, he's talking about how happy he is with where these players are at. They've been here. They've done that. It's not their first practice. You got a small minority of players that this is their first practice at Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing I kind of honed in on there is from a fundamental standpoint. When you start camp, no matter what camp it is, spring, summer, whatever, you kind of always start with that base level of endos, fundamentals, and build out into playbook, scheme, position, installs, as he said. And the more familiar you are with the process of the team, the quicker we can move through that. The more of the base of that language that you've learned how to speak, the quicker you're going to start speaking that language fast. And this coaching staff wants to go fast, as everyone is aware of. I've tried to find this dang cap somewhere. I bought it when I came out to Tennessee. Sorry to get off topic, but I tried to find it again. I found it in Knoxville somewhere when I came out for the Florida game in 2016, and now it exists nowhere. But moving back to what I was talking about, you just want to be able to make those installs that much quicker. And when you have those kids with that time under their belt, it's so valuable and so great. You just move a whole lot quicker. And sure, you're going to still have some kids that weren't able to do that. I know David Hobbs missed time. I know everyone's excited about him. Check out the breakdown of him, guys. If you didn't get to see it, he's got an awesome play on that where he picks a deep pass from the defensive line position. One of the most unreal things I've ever seen on a football field. So it's exciting, man. That speed and talent is going to be exciting for this team.
We got a couple of more minutes here from Heupel, then we're going to wrap up this stream. Let's hear what he has to say out the door.
Josh back here. Kelsey Pope seems to have a tight-knit relationship with all his wide receivers. What made you see that in him to bring him on as an offensive analyst and then eventually promote him into wide receivers coach?
Yeah, you interview him, striking and his ability to communicate at a really high level. His understanding of fundamentals and technique at the wide receiver position, overall scheme, his understanding, and then had a year of incorporating him truly into what we're doing. From the moment that he's been here, he's had great relationships. He cares about his players. That's true of all the guys that are in our building. That's where it starts. You got to build trust with your players, and that only happens from great communication and them understanding that you care about the person more than you do the player. And we care deeply about the player too, but we want these guys to be successful and grow. You guys have seen the change in the players inside of this program. Kelsey's done a phenomenal job of that. Year one, him being instrumental in the growth of some of the guys that played at a high level. Like I said, Tillman, the development of Jalen Hyatt. Our guys have great trust in him. And
I love the video when he got hired. Like the kids loved
Coach,
flocked
just,
to him.
you touched on this a little bit a minute ago, but just
Well, it's all
from
about,
an eye
man.
test standpoint, can compare this team to 2 years ago. Do you feel like you just look more like an SEC football team when you look at it on the practice field?
I should probably ask you that question. I'm saying, like, it's dramatically different than we were.
I'm not going down a tangent here, but I love the fact that when Heupel came in, he loved on the kids that were there. He never insulted them. He never said we're going to out-recruit, and that's what Pruitt did when he came in. We're going to recruit above you. He loved the kids that were here. He asked what they needed, and then they freaking went to work. And now when he's asked about it years later, he's like, you tell me. I love Coach. I love Coach Heupel.
I would say that with the guys that run out there with the first unit today too, but you just look through the depth of our roster, the length, size, ability to bend, up front in particular, the athleticism, the ability to move out in space with our skill guys and big skill. It's dramatically different.
Josh, you've been around the game obviously for a while, growing up, with your dad as a coach, and then playing and growing up, Pee Wee, high school, college coaching, all those things. You ever seen a bad first day, like where just something's like something's not right? It seems like every first day is usually
Have you seen a
pretty
bad
good one.
first day?
Yes.
Well, you hope the first day's a good one. Have I ever seen a bad one? Yeah. If you don't do a great job of being intentional and making sure early in training camp, right? And I don't care at any level of football that you're building them the right way, and you end up having a guy that gets nicked up, whatever it might be. I think that's something that's got to be really intentional with at the beginning of training camp. And, there's a lot of things that you're always trying to work on, but I think the ability for your players to communicate at a really high level, some of the things that you've been intentional with all spring and all summer, if those things don't show up, man, it's a telltale sign that the culture and what you're trying to build isn't going in the right direction.
That's like Boogie. That's like Boogie saying, like, have you ever had a bad day? Hosting Talkin VAWLS.
I've had a lot of bad days hosting Talkin VAWLS. If you guys could have seen my Amari Jefferson video this morning, like full transparency, I started that video 5 times. I was like, and then I started it over. Coach, send us out with a fun story. Tell us about your worst first day of fall camp.
Yeah, easy. So it wasn't at the high school level though. It was at a Pop Warner level on a really competitive team, and I was it just the whole day started awry. I was putting on a face mask and not paying attention, and I tore this fingernail, my ring fingernail, clean off my finger. So I was walking around. First of all, with a bad fingernail, and this was a team that was very accomplished, mind you. Like they'd gone to a Pop Warner championship the year before, and they were a good team full of kids that were going to private schools to play high competition high school ball that I work with, and the quarterback the very first day. Broke his leg in the very first Indo drill.
Oh,
and then from then on out, it was just a complete crap show. It was people were walking around with their head down. People didn't want to touch the line. When we were running them, people didn't want to push through. You had veterans that obviously had been enjoying the summer too much and puking a little too much, and people running into each other. And it's just, sometimes on the football field, nothing goes right. So you try to shut down the practice and just torture them, for not being ready. And then you can't even torture them properly. And it makes you really sad. And you're sitting there pissed off with a torn off fingernail. And, yeah, so there's other bad ones that I can think of, but for some reason that one just comes to mind because it was one of those practices where you could literally cue the Bad News Bears practice, and if it were any other Pop Warner team than that Pop Warner team, I'd probably just have been like, oh, it's a youth team, who cares? But that Pop Warner team was special, who had D1 players on it and accomplished a lot on the football field and continued to accomplish a lot on the football field.
That's how we are sending you guys out the door with that Pop Warner story from Coach.
Yeah.
Look, it's day one of fall camp. Not a whole lot to talk about. My wife's like, what in the world are you going to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. I've been sitting in there for 2 hours trying to form a narrative for the live stream. But it's football time in Tennessee. Fall camp is here. We're going to be live next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Ben McKee's going to be in the house. We'll have a week's worth of fall camp to kind of dive into. I'll be live Monday night, playing some NCAA football, having a good time as always. But the content's gearing up, boys. Come, make sure you are dialed in. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure that bell's clicked for notifications so you don't miss out. If you want to join the channel, be a part of it. Look, both of these guys are here because they hit that join button. They became a member for whatever reason. They were like, I kind of dig it around here. Let me join the channel and become a member. And they jumped on the fan call-in shows. And you guys, the audience, you guys decide. I don't know if you realize that. A lot of people say to me, Boogie, how do I become a co-host? I want to be a co-host. I don't decide. The chat decides. And when I tell people they join the channel and they jump on a fan call-in show, I'm reading the chat the entire time when other people are talking and when they're going, Coach J's the man. Coach J gets it. Dude, I love X. X is awesome. Bring X back. Guess what? I'm watching and paying attention, and these guys became a part of the show. Coach J said it before. The last couple of weeks he's been saying, Boogie, who's going to be next, man? Who's going to be the next guy that's out there that we don't know about that becomes a part of this channel? I'm excited to see it too, man. That's the beauty of the Talkin VAWLS Network. It's a community. You guys are part of that. But tons of content coming your way. Subscribe, dial in, all that stuff. Go get the merch, man. Those new shirts are fire. Go check them out. I'm immediately going to sign off and go add that Razorback shirt from Mrs. Coach J. Don't you worry about that. But that's going to do it. He's Coach J. He's the X Factor. My name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
That we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and